When I rolled up to my own front steps and realized I couldn't enter my house, I knew life had officially changed. 4 months earlier, a car accident had broken my spine and rearranged my future. The doctors told me I was lucky to be alive. But luck doesn't carry you up a staircase. So, with the help of my brother, I built a ramp. Nothing fancy, just strong, safe, and essential to reach my front door. The day after it was completed, a letter arrived from the HOA. Unapproved construction. Remove immediately. I wheeled to the community office. Inside, Mr. Donnelly, the HOA compliance officer, sat like a king behind paperwork. I explained the necessity, the urgency, the law. He tapped the desk unimpressed. This community has standards. We can't have structures like that visible from the street. It lowers property value. I stared at him, incredulous. Property value? I'm trying to access my home. He shrugged. We'll allow temporary disability equipment, but only if it's removable after 90 days. Your ramp is permanent. It must come down. I leaned forward. Are you aware of the Americans with Disabilities Act? Accessibility isn't optional. He smirked. This isn't a business. The ADA doesn't apply here. It took everything inside me not to lose control, because he was wrong, and I used to be a civil rights attorney. I said nothing else, just left. That night was long. I stared at the ramp through the window and thought about every person who had ever been told their mobility was a burden, a violation, an inconvenience. Not this time. The next morning, served documents landed on Donnelly's desk. A formal complaint filed with the county court. A full ADA compliance argument. Photographs, medical reports, case law. Everything necessary to prove that accessibility is a right. At first, they brushed it off, confident their bylaws made them untouchable. They were wrong again. Because when the court date was set, the news spread through the neighborhood. People began stopping by, offering support, sharing stories of grandparents, veterans, and children who would one day need that ramp too. I realized I wasn't just fighting for myself. I was fighting for everyone they would target in the future. On the morning of the hearing, Donnelly finally looked nervous. Good. He was about to learn what happens when you try to block the entrance to a man's home. The judge listened carefully as both sides presented their arguments. The HOA insisted that aesthetics and uniformity were vital to maintaining home values, that the community had a right to enforce appearances, that temporary accommodations were enough. My lawyer simply asked one question. Is climbing stairs considered a temporary requirement for entering one's home? Silence. The judge knew the answer. So did everyone in the courtroom. We showed photos, accessibility evaluations, the news stories the HOA ignored, proof that other states had already ruled in favor of ramps in residential communities. When Donnelly tried to argue again, the judge raised a hand. Sir, this is not merely a matter of appearances. It is a matter of civil rights. Those words echoed like a gavel strike. The ruling came fast. Mandatory compliance with ADA accessibility standards, immediate reinstatement of the ramp as a protected fixture, reimbursement for legal fees and damages, mandatory training for all HOA board members on disability law. I won. Not a partial win, a statement win. Outside the courtroom, neighbors shook my hand. Reporters recorded the moment. Donnelly refused to make eye contact. When I returned home, volunteers helped rebuild the ramp, stronger and better than before. Donated materials, professional construction, reinforced rails, fresh coat of paint. It wasn't just a ramp anymore. It was a monument to the fact that the HOA didn't get the final say over basic humanity. A week later, the HOA held a meeting to issue a public apology. Their tone wasn't sincere, forced, and embarrassed, but it was in writing and legally binding. I addressed the board. One day, every one of us will face obstacles. Some will need ramps, some will need help. When that day comes, I hope you remember this moment and choose compassion instead of control. The room was silent. The message was clear. Now every time I roll up that ramp, I feel the victory under my wheels, not just for me, but for every resident who might one day need the same path. They tried to take away my access to my home. They ended up giving me access to a new purpose. The ramp stays. The rights remain. The fight continues for anyone who needs it.